Hey guys, welcome back again to my channel. My name is Adedamola and I film from Lagos, Nigeria. I film on lifestyle, positivity, HR tips and inspiration. If you're yet to subscribe to my channel, what are you guys still waiting for? Please do well to subscribe. Do well to subscribe to this channel if you're yet to do that. Thank you very much. Click on the notification button so that you can always get notification. Click on the bell button so you can always get notifications every time I drop a new video. Thank you. In this video, I'm going to be talking about my embarrassing moments and the culture shock I faced in Dublin, Ireland. So I decided to do it as my embarrassing moments and the culture shock I faced because I feel like both of them would more like have the same. I think they're both the same for me. I think the embarrassing moments I faced in Ireland were also a bit of the culture shock that I faced as well, and that's why I decided to make this video. Yeah, just embarrassing moments and the culture shock I faced in Ireland. So if you're considering moving to Ireland or if you're considering moving to another country, it is important that you know some of the things that are more like different from the way things are done in your country, or some things that might not be the same as how things are done in your country. So for those of you who want to move to Ireland, or those of you who feel like they want to move or go for a vacation, or just more like go there to study, you might find this video interesting, and you might find this video also more like informative for you to know some of the culture shock and the embarrassing moments I faced. The first thing I would like to talk about is the language. Now, moving to Ireland, I felt like I understood English. Or I felt like I understood the way they spoke, and so I didn't know that I was going to have any language issues or trying to understand my lecturer. Because, well, before I moved, I used to work in a company that every day we listen to CNN, and I felt like, okay, Damola, you already understand how these guys speak. But I didn't know that Irish people speak in a different way. So moving to Ireland, I had an issue with trying to understand my first lecturer. It was a big time struggle. It was a big time struggle that I had to always, at a point, I felt like, okay, what can you do, Adedamola? I had to start recording my lecturer. Don't do this, guys. It's very wrong. I had to start recording the lecturer whenever he comes to class. And then when I get back to my room, I just start playing back the recording. But I found out that this was not even helping matters. Sometimes I would cry trying to understand what the lecturer was talking about, but it took me a while before I was able to like really understand what he was talking about, and to just more like get a better understanding about the Irish way of speaking. I mean, I feel like it's different anyway. So that was the first culture shock I would say I faced, and I gave myself some time and I was able to catch up, and so I feel like I was able to like do well in that part. After a while, it takes a while for you to actually understand the Irish way of speaking. I think it's quite different from other countries, but yeah, I don't know. So the second thing I will talk about was when I was supposed to cross like to the other side of the road. And you know, in Nigeria, when you want to cross to the other side of the road, all you have to do is to wave at the cars, or just more like wait there for a while, try to see if the road is clear, and then you cross. No, you don't do that in Ireland. So the first time I knew that this was the first time, it wasn't so embarrassing because not a lot of people were looking at me, but yeah, it was one of those embarrassing moments for me. It was, I was waiting, and then I was thinking the cars were going to stop for me. These cars didn't stop. So I was thinking that okay, maybe if I wait there for a long time, these cars will stop. That was how one Chinese girl just came and pressed that button. I'm going to put the name of the button in the description here. I'm going to put the name of the button somewhere around here. The girl pressed it, and I noticed that the cars were not moving like the way they used to move again. It was then I found out that you don't just wait at the bus stop thinking that cars will wait for you. You have to press that thing. I can't remember the name of the thing right now. You have to press that thing so that the other cars coming from the left, right, or wherever the cars are coming from will just more like wait for you, because I think that's when the light says red for them, and then the people who are by the walkway can actually cross the end of the road. So if you ever find yourself moving to Ireland or anywhere in the world, just try to like understand the way things are done. And if you find yourself moving to Ireland, you have to press this button before you're able to move the road. Okay, so this one when I moved to Ireland, you know, in my country in Nigeria, if you need to stop a bus, all you have to do is wave down or flag down the bus, and then the bus would literally wait for you and know that, okay, I'm about to pick you up. There was a particular time I was supposed to travel to one of the counties in Ireland, and it didn't even happen to me once. It happened like maybe twice before I found out that, okay, you don't do like this. You have to stay at the bus stop before buses will wait for you. So if you don't stay at your bus stop, I learned it the hard way, like you have to always stay by your bus stop so that buses will wait for you. Otherwise, you keep flagging like this, the way we do it here, you keep flagging like this, but nobody would answer you. They will just move past you and think that maybe you're just having fun or maybe you're just playing around. So it was an embarrassing moment for me, because I think I was in that bus stop for a long time before I actually found out that Adedamola, you need to leave this place and go to a bus stop. That's when the bus would wait for you. So take note of that if you ever have to visit Ireland, or if you ever have to visit Ireland, or if you ever have to go there to study, or if you have to go there to live. Okay, so one of the good things I noticed that was not always, or that is not really done in my country, or that I never really noticed in my own country, was that anytime you entered the bus, everybody greets the bus driver. Like everybody says good morning, good afternoon, and then whenever anybody drops in their stop, they always thank the bus driver. It was weird for me the first time. I was like, oh really? So people actually thank the bus drivers and even tell them good morning, and even more like, you know, respect them. So I found that really interesting, and I've been able to like really inculcate that in my own daily life as well. So I think you should always do that too, whether you're in Nigeria or whether you're trying to move out of Nigeria, or whether you even move to Ireland. I think it's a good thing for one to do. I mean, just more like respect people, not because of what they do, but because we're human. So that was one good thing I learned. I was a culture shock to me, because where I'm coming from, nobody cares. Like nobody really greets anybody to say, okay, good morning bus driver, or good morning, or thank you bus driver for the change or something. But I think it's something that we need to also start putting into our daily lives. I mean, it makes the driver feel good as well. It makes you even feel like you're human as well. So I think that's one good thing I learned about moving to Ireland. So the first time I ever went to Primark in Ireland, it's called Pennies anyway. The first time I ever went to Primark was when I heard about the return policy. And I didn't hear it from the counter. I heard it from a woman who was just making calls, and she was saying to her daughter or to somebody over the phone, and she was saying to this person, don't wear it, don't mark your label here kuro, don't remove the label, because if you remove the label, they will not collect it back from you. And I heard that, and the guy that went with me to the place, I was like, wait, is this how things are done here? And the guy was like, yes, you can buy something and then you can say you want to return it the next day, that you don't like it, even after you have worn it or after you have used it. And I was like, oh really? But guys, don't do that. I don't advise anybody to do that, because I don't do that anyway. So the return policy is, if you buy something, you can always return, depending on the company, depending on where you bought your thing from. I think it's quite good. I mean, if you don't really like something and you tried it on in your house, and you can always return it if you don't want it. But people take advantage of that, and then they wear things to parties, they wear things for events, and then they still come back to return it after taking all the pictures and the selfies and everything. So don't do that. If you ever get the chance to go on a visit, or if you ever get the chance to move there and you have the chance to do something like that, don't do that. It's not right. Okay, this embarrassing moment I cannot forget. I mean, I feel like there's a lot, but this particular one I can't forget. So in my very first job, I thought to myself the night before, adedamola, make stew that has iru. So iru means locust beans. I took Iru with stew to office, to my to my company, and then I made rice, and that was how Adedamola went and microwaved the stew. And you guys, you know the way Iru smells, you know the way locust beans smell, you know that some of the food we make in Nigeria have some sort of scent or smell. And that was how I took this to the office, and during lunch I was already so hungry and I felt like, okay, open up your food and let's eat. Maybe if I had not even microwaved that food, I would have felt all right, you know. But I microwaved it and the smell was all over the place. I got back to my office and I was like, okay, start eating. And the first thing I saw was one person stood up and went out. And then the next thing I saw was another person stood up and went out. And it was a small office, so like you could count, we're about 4 people in the office. So like the 3 other people in the office stood up and went out for lunch. I thought they had gone out for lunch. It was after they came back. In fact, I could not even eat the food again. It was after they came back in the afternoon. I then saw that it was the smell of my food that chased everybody out of the office. And so I didn't finish my food. I think when I opened the food, I was already getting the signs of, Adedamola, what have you done? So I closed the food. I didn't finish my food that day. The hunger that wired me, oh Lord, never try that. I'll never try that again. So it was not later on they got back from lunch. I had to tell them, okay, you guys, the food I just ate is locust beans. You can Google it and see it, and that is a very it has a bad smell, or the smell is not so comforting, but we use it to spice up our food in Nigeria. And the guy was like, oh wow. And you know, because I didn't finish the food, it was like, okay, you know what, I'll give you some euro to go and buy chocolates, because like that day I was hungry and I was so embarrassed to even open up the food and say I wanted to eat. So that was a very embarrassing moment for me, because I took what I felt like was my own to the office, but it was the smell scent, or the smell chased everybody in the office away, and it's something I'll never do again. So don't do that. Don't do that. The first time I ever went on a date with a friend, not a girlfriend, was when I went out on a date with my Chinese friend, and she said, can we go to that Chinese restaurant downstairs? And I was like, okay, no problem. Like, she sounded like as if when we go there, when I buy anything, she would be the one to pay for the meal. So me now, student like me, JJC like me, I was like, okay, let's go. Where do you want us to go? And then the day we went, thankfully, I took my ATM card with me. I didn't even take one cash at all, because I was thinking, when someone says, come, let's go for lunch, you know, back home in Nigeria, when somebody says, come, let's go for lunch, you know that the person is going to pay your bills, right? Like, you don't have anything to pay. So she was like, come, let's go for lunch. So I felt like, okay, free lunch, Chinese food and all of that. And so we went for lunch. And in fact, the first sight of all the foods, I didn't like them, but I just felt like, okay, why don't you just give it a try? So I just selected something that had rice. The picture is just here. Yeah, that's it. I selected something that had rice, and I was thinking, okay, it was going to turn out nice, or it was going to taste nice. When they brought it, I mean the original food, when they brought it to my table, I was like, Adedamola, you have just wasted your order. I never got to the point of maybe the person was going to pay or not. I was like, I just wasted your order. Anyway, let me just eat it the way it is. So I had like, I didn't even eat up to half of the food, because you know, it wasn't something I could eat. It was different from the Chinese restaurants I used to know, you know. So it was now time for me to pay. It was time for us to pay, and my dear friend started counting her coins and the note she had and arranged on the table, and it was just exact amounts that she bought her food. I remember, and I was like, wait, are you not paying for me? Auntie didn't pay for me. So it was then and then I knew that Adedamola, you have entered one chance, but thank God they brought my ATM card. So I just acted like as if nothing happened. What did I do? I just brought out my ATM card and I was like, okay, take your money. And I think I was not even so buoyant that time. So, but yeah, thankfully I took my ATM card. So I don't know, maybe if I hadn't taken my ATM card, and I've probably gotten some beating that day from the Chinese restaurant people, but thankfully nothing like that happened. So if you ever move to Ireland, if anybody invites you on a date, or if anybody says come let's go for lunch, if the person is not from your country, if the person is not Nigerian, or if the person is not somebody that you can ask and say, are you paying? Please always take your money, take your ATM card, because if you don't, you might wash plates. You might wash plates at the end of your meal if you don't have the money. The embarrassing moments and the few culture shock I faced when I moved to Ireland. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I hope you're going to take all of this into consideration if you ever have to go on a visit, or if you ever have to move to Ireland as a student or as a resident of the country. And till I see you again in my next video, thank you so much for staying with me to the very end of this video. Do well to like this video, subscribe, don't forget to subscribe, click on the bell button, and so that you can always get notifications every time I drop a new video. Till then, I'll see you again in my next video. Bye bye.